Good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock now, and it's time for our October town hall. I'm going to start with a couple of quick reminders. I'm Mary Catherine Chase, your Director of Communications and Public Information Officer for the city. I would love for everyone, if you haven't done so yet, to please mute your microphone. We're going to have an agenda today that's really robust. We'll be able to do Q&A during those time periods. If you would like to share a question, you can put it in the chat within Teams. You can also send it to our town hall email box, or you can chat me directly for that. Presenters today, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective and your work updates with everyone. And I'm going to be both watching the clock and advancing the slides while Maggie takes notes for all of us. And with that, let's get going. Can I just check that everyone can see the agenda? All right, Wyatt can.
Yes.
All right. On our agenda today, we're going to welcome a number of colleagues to go through some updates regarding some projects and some participation for colleagues across the city. And with that, I'm going to hand off to our city manager, Wyatt Shields. Thank you, Wyatt.
Thank you, Mary Catherine. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our employee town hall meeting. And I'm going to keep my report brief because we do have an action-packed agenda today. But I do want to take the opportunity to kick things off with some great personnel announcements. And I'm going to start with recognition for our CPEDS team and Emily Bazemore. This weekend, we had the Virginia Municipal League. All the city council and Cindy Mester are down and at Virginia Beach for the annual conference of all the city and town governments across Virginia. And Emily was there as well to receive the VML's Innovation Award for our outreach campaign with respect to the East End Area Plan. And that was a great team effort with many members of the CPED staff, including Emily, of course, but also Cameron, Carrie, Zoe, and others were really out there as a team to engage with community and get meaningful input into the East End Area Plan that did change how we addressed the future, the way we planned for the East End area. And so it was a great engagement, and it's great to get that statewide recognition. Now I'll welcome some of our new employees, and I'll invite all of those listed
Sorry,
here
I'm putting headphones on.
to turn on their camera and just wave to say hello. But here on the second floor, we have two contract specialists who've joined our team, Keiko Takai and Olia Labid. Welcome. It's great having you here with the city, and that touches almost all of us in terms of our ability to move projects forward through the contracting process. Megan Dotzler is joining us as our new library director for the Mary Riley Stiles Public Library. Welcome, Megan. Chris Valakos is joining us as our human resources HR generalist, and Chris had been working with us as a temporary employee, and we're really excited that he is now joining us on a permanent basis. In Recreation and Parks, we have Tristan Treese, who's joining us with Mike Noyes and the whole maintenance team. Welcome, Tristan. And in Human Services, we have an intern that's having her first day today, Anna Shine. So welcome, Anna. I also want to just note for two celebrations, or maybe a third as well, for Tony Dudley. He was hired. That position was advertised as a term position. Tony's been doing just wonderful work with the city, with their stormwater projects and the greening of Lincoln project and so many others. And just recently was his position was converted to a permanent position with the city. We're very glad that that has gone through. And similarly, Sarah Swinton in our Economic Development Office hired as a term position, and we've converted that. Sarah's position is now a permanent position with the city. So congratulations both to Tony and to Sarah. And thank you all for your great work for the city. And now, next up on the agenda is a briefing on the community centered construction project. And Danny and Lionel are going to give that presentation. But before we turn it over to them, the last celebration is the fact that Lionel Millard has been promoted to our CIP facilities manager. And that's a great thing. Lionel's been doing wonderful work with the city. And so, Lionel, congratulations on your promotion. And the first question Danny had when he heard about your promotion is, you're still going to be in charge of the community center project, are you not? And the answer is yes. But let me turn it over to you, Lionel and Danny, for a briefing for all of us on this important project.
Thank you, Wyatt. Yeah, I'm very excited to start this new role. Obviously, I plan on continuing being heavily involved with, project management, design and construction oversight of our facilities and infrastructure projects. But I look forward to taking on this new role and continuing delivering projects to the city. So with that being said, the next big project that we have coming up is the community center HVAC upgrade. And so just to give a quick rundown of the scope. So the facility is essentially two buildings. You have the original building. Sorry, hold on one second. The original building with its boiler, cooling tower, and chiller, and all this old obsolete water cooled systems that will be replaced as part of this community center HVAC upgrade. And so that'll be taking place starting January 6th, which is where you guys will see a lot of activity out in front of the drive aisle over there at the community center. We will be starting the geothermal wells, which is about 16 550-foot wells that will serve as the heating and cooling loop that will supply an energy efficient HVAC system, as well as 5 water source heat pumps that will be installed inside the gymnasium. And part of the project is also a little bit of a renovation to the interior components of that gym. We're going to be demoing the ceiling to access that old equipment. That will all be demoed. The new ceiling will be insulated and then painted white. So it'll be a much more bright and open ceiling concept, as well as adding additional controls to the system to make it more energy efficient and more easy to operate and maintain, and to keep a good heating and cooling element for staff and public occupant comfort. And a couple of updates that I do have. So we have released the first round of equipment with Nova Facility Solutions. Those are the water source heat pumps. So those have been released, and we expect those to be here sometime in December. And then the rest of the equipment, such as the geothermal wells, the fluid cooler, the heat exchanger, will all be released in the next 2 weeks. We've executed contracts with Nova Facility Solution and Colossal, who are the two prime contractors for this project. I've also been working with Danny and Amy and their staff, as well as the schools, to relocate the Parks and Rec staff to the South Oak Street trailers or offsite classrooms. Sorry, I'm getting blown up by contractors. And we'll also be relocating some of the senior programming over to Columbia Baptist. We're still working through that deed of lease agreement. Hopefully that will be in place within the next month or so. And we expect the first round of relocation for Parks and Rec staff to take place in mid to late December, where they will be likely sharing the space or the offsite classroom with Levine School for at least the first 2 months. And then they will fully relocate both daytime and evening time programming over to the classrooms until June or late May, early June, which is when the construction is supposed to be complete. A couple of schedule updates. The farmers market that will be relocated starting January 4th. This will likely be in effect until March 1st of 2025, which is when that drive aisle will be opened back up for public use, and the farmers market will go back into its current location, which is mostly in the front and sides of City Hall. So yes, the farmers market will be temporarily relocated as part of this project. The interior construction will take place starting around February 17th. At this time, the community center will be completely shut down to public use. And that again will take place until the project's complete, which is again around January 6th, January 7th, 2025. As far as parking impacts, some of our laydown area will take place along the side of the community center building, which is where those angled parking spaces are. As the project makes its way through its schedule, we plan on reducing some of that parking that we've taken from city and public use. But again, from about February 17th till June 6th, that parking will not be accessible due to it being our laydown area. And then just a quick update on the budget. So the overall project is coming in around 4.1 million. And that includes everything from design, construction, the test wells, relocating Parks and Rec staff, temporary restroom facilities, obviously because the community center will be closed down. And so far, I mean, I've been doing a lot of the buyouts and getting most of my contractors under contract, and we're looking really good on the budget right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we are as far as the project. It's moving forward. Contractors are already scheduled. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting.
That's fantastic, Lionel. Thank you so much. Amy or Danny, did you want to share any more information about the partnerships you have to move classes during the spring? I know Lionel hit on some of that.
Yeah, so I was going to jump in real quick and then turn it over to Amy to talk about the actual programming. One of the things I did want to mention, add on to Lionel's information, he mentioned the farmers market. I'm sure there might be some questions about that. The temporary move will be basically from the front up by the flagpoles to moving the farmers market to the back part of the parking lot during the time frame that we need to do that in order to make sure there's still one good entrance and egress point into the campus, if you will. And then I guess the other thing I would say is that in talks about cross collaboration and stuff, this has been a really nice project to work on, and I really do appreciate Public Works and Lionel's efforts. It's really the extra efforts that have gone in to kind of make sure that we're doing this piece by piece has been really nice. So let me be one of the first to congratulate Lionel on the promotion and to thank Public Works for all their efforts here. I think the project itself seems to be really nicely defined and timeline and stuff like that. So if it's not done by the beginning of June, we'll talk later, Lionel, about what kind of problems we'll have then. But I do want to turn it over to Amy Youngs and talk a little bit about the ongoing programming of recreation and parks while the project goes on. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations, Lionel.
Thank you.
So, Lionel mentioned most of it. The senior center programming will move most likely to Columbia Baptist. It's going to be hard to get them back because that is a beautiful space, and I think they're going to like being over there maybe too much. The community center main office, I'll say, like during typical office hours, will be at Oak Street Elementary right at the get-go. So as Lionel mentioned, kind of late December, our staff will get relocated over there and plan on being up and running, for that first week in January during regular office hours. But the community center is still going to open on nights and weekends for those first several weeks. So when we roll out our winter spring programming, all of our programs are going to be listed. If your child is taking this art class, January and February, this class will be held in the art room at the community center. In March through May, your class will be at the Oak Street Trailers. So each program will be listed as where it kind of will be starting and then where it will be going. That week in February, when the building really starts getting demoed or the work gets started, we're actually pausing all programming for that 1 week so that we can make sure that all the equipment that we need gets moved over there and we get reset so that all of our programming is ready to go in the offsite locations. So the week of February 23rd, we're not doing any programming other than our basketball because we just can't lose a week of basketball. But basketball will continue in the school facilities through the rest of the season. Classes, anything that is daytime, weekday classes, so a lot of either senior fitness classes or little toddler classes, things like that, will go to the trailers immediately starting the beginning of the session. And then everything else that happens on nights and weekends that starts off at the community center will eventually move over starting March 1st after the pause week. The events that we have during this time is mostly just the egg hunt that gets impacted, and really, it's an outdoor event. So as long as the weather is okay, the egg hunt will go on with just maybe a bit less parking due to the layout area. So we are continuing to do nearly everything. The one big thing we won't be able to continue during this time is obviously facility rentals inside this building. So at that time of year, we have things like the AAUW book sale, the VPUS Attic Treasures. I think at least some of them have already booked, like after we reopen, looking at weekends in the summertime to move those larger events, but facility rentals is really one of the only things that we're not going to be able to continue during this time. Everything else we're finding a new home for. But again, most important for staff to know is that our offices will be at the trailers right away, starting in very early January, but this building will still open nights and weekends until that February date.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy and Danny and Lionel. Does anyone have any questions for this awesome team before we move to our next agenda item? All right, I don't see any hands or any questions. Thank you all so much. Next up, Ryan's going to give us an update on the Berman Park project.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mary Kathleen, for letting me share some information. So I'm going to share some drawing here to give a better understanding of the scope. So we have a Berman Park, and the project is going to improve and narrowing the crossing at the Kent Street and Ellison. We have narrowing with the color concrete. We have a curb extension and sidewalk improvement. We have marking and signage and landscaping, lighting improvement as well. And so we have two new crossing, one of them at the Ellison and another at the Kent Street, and improve the existing crossing at the Kent Street as well. The same scope we have for Irving Street, and also we have for Spring Street and Lee Court. We receive a change order from planning division regarding to change the pattern of the crossing from stamping to broom finishing at all the crossing, except we're gonna do just asphalt at Lee Court. So Lee Court not gonna be concrete anymore, it's gonna be asphalt. And so this is the scope of the work for a Berman Park project. The project, we received the latest schedule for project. So the sequence will be Kent Street and Ellison Street improvements on starting on mid of November. The project actually project construction will start by the end of October 28th, but closing the road, putting MOT sign and surveying, mobilization. Demolition start Kent Street and Ellison Street by mid of November for about 4 weeks. Construction there, and then they move to South Spring Street and Lee Court for 3 weeks to complete that area, and then come back to Irving Street another 3 weeks in late January next year. This is the sequence of the project, and so Kent Street and Ellison Street will be completely closing during the construction, and also the same Irving Street will be closing all the way, but Spring Street and Lee Court will be one lane open. So this is the schedule of the project, and the budgeting we have. So the project budget is $1.4 million, and we have a good budget for a construction. The project construction is $490,000, and we have about 25% contingency. We will be in budget, and hopefully by March, mid of March, the project will be completed, except landscaping and planting, which will be limited in winter time. So expected to be late April or early May next week to complete landscaping and planting as well. And that's it. Appreciate everyone. I'm happy to get any question.
Are there any questions for Ryan? Right. I need to take control and get back control of the screen here. Can anyone comment whether you can see my screen? Ryan, I think you need to give me back control over the screen, please.
I closed sharing. Can you share the screen
It's
again?
coming through now. Great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna whiz through these slides. And next up is Cindy to talk about our love sculpture competition. Cindy.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm excited to do a reminder of this. As everybody knows from the earlier message, we have a call out for employees to help us design a love sculpture. That'll be part of our 75th anniversary and put out in front of City Hall. A great way to celebrate our creativity of employees and to be a focal point for photos. We know people always love to take photos at the love sculpture. So on the screen, we just did a highlight of the information that we emailed out. The submissions are due October 20th. So we wanted to take advantage of today's town hall to remind us all of that wonderful opportunity. And I'm excited to say that we already have received a couple submissions, and I've heard of some other folks that are considering and being creative in designing. So October 20th is the date, and then the process will be a review with the city manager's office and OCOM. Then it'll go to the Arts and Humanities Council as part of our public art process, and then to the Planning Commission, which is required under our city charter, and then the final approval will be with City Council. And so glad to answer any questions either through the town hall or reach out to Mary Catherine, Maggie, and I, and we'll work with anybody else that has questions for submissions.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Does anyone have any questions regarding the love sculpture? Okay, hope to see a couple more emails with some great designs coming in. Thank you, Cindy. All right, our next presenter is Chris to talk about the retirement board.
Good morning, everyone. Before I want to talk about the results, I was going to give some information about the board and what we do and what it is. The board oversees the administration and operation of the city's basic and police pension plans and the OPEB, Other Post-Employment Benefits Fund for retiree health care. It selects the companies that handle the plan's investments, administration, and actuarial evaluations, and reviews the plan's investment practices. The board also determines eligibility for disability retirement and advises the city council. The board is made up of 3 citizens of Falls Church, 3 employee reps, and a city representative. And the board conducts quarterly meetings, which generally start around 6 p.m. and last for about 2 hours. They review the financial status of the retirement funds, accept and approve applications to draw retirement funds, and initiate and participate in changes to the retirement plans. And as you all know, a special election for the city's basic plan retirement board representative was held recently for one position. That was to replace Charlie Collier. And the winner was Gary Fuller, our Deputy Director of Planning, who's been here for over 35 years in the Community Planning and Economic Development Services. So if you see him around, congratulate him and for his nomination.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Chris, and congratulations, Gary, and
Oh,
thanks for volunteering.
No problem.
All right, we're handing over now to Jenny Carroll, who has a couple of slides to share with us, a couple of announcements.
Good morning. I was just trying to figure out how many minutes I have and what we're at, where we're at. So I wanted to give a couple of updates on the different work groups or employee groups that are happening, and I thought it would be a good idea to sort of cover all of those groups and what they are, so that we have some clarity around what is happening in the city for employees to be engaged. So there are a couple of time-limited employee work groups that are happening right now. One of those is the Employee Survey Action Plan Work Group, and the other one is the Administrative Regulations Update Work Group. So the Employee Survey Action Plan Work Group has already been formed. They've gotten started. They are working on prioritizing the items that came out of the employee survey and also the facilitated discussion groups. That is expected to end probably the end of October, beginning of November. The Administrative Regulations Update Work Group, Latanya sent out an email about that. That is an employee work group to look at the administrative regulations. Their initial charge is to prioritize the administrative regulations as to what goes in what order to be reviewed. The ongoing employee groups that we have are the Employee Advisory Council. They meet once a month, and Charlie is the vice chair, and Charlie Hamilton is the vice chair, chair, and Ripple Patel is the vice chair for that group. The Social Equity Action Team is another employee group that meets on a regular basis. They are meeting every other month. So our next meeting is in November. There are still spots available for employee volunteers. So if you're interested in joining that group, please email me, Jenny Carroll, jcarroll @fallstreetva.gov, and I'll send you more information about that as well. And then the last kind of group that is happening is the certification administrative regulation. This is related to the past practice of the 5% pay increase for certification or permit or licensure that an employee has received. This was a prioritized administrative regulation from the city manager, and so that process has started. The draft has been reviewed by that work group, including an EAC representative and a legal review. We hope to get that out for the 30-day process this week. It may be the beginning of next week. So those are the groups that are currently formed and working, where employees can get engaged with the city. And so the next slide, I'm going to do some updates for some of those groups. As I said, the Employee Survey Action Plan Work Group is in process. They have 2 meetings scheduled for October, and I'm expecting a recommendation at the end of October, and then moving forward with communication out to employees, to senior leadership, that will occur as well. The Administrative Regulations Updates Work Group, as I said, that one is also in process. Latanya had sent out an email requesting volunteers. She received 9 volunteers. Woo! It's a 6 to 9 month commitment. And then the certification administrative regulation process. So the work group met to finalize the draft, looking at the legal review, and then going out to employees for a 30-day comment period. So, and during that 30-day comment period, I anticipate having a employee meeting where employees can come and give comment, in addition to, if they wish to give comment on the administrative regulation directly to HR, sorry, not AR, to HR, they can do so. And I think that's it for the update. Am I on time? I am still on time. So I think this is my final thing. The Fun Bunch, the pumpkin carving and um, uh, employee event for pumpkin carving and costume contest. So this will happen on Thursday, October 31st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to occur in the west wing side of the City Hall lobby, and also in the council chambers foyer, is my understanding. Treats will be in that foyer, and then the pumpkins will be out in the lobby. And the Fun Bunch will be sending out some more particulars this week. Danny will get pumpkins to departments, and there are no parameters on what can be the theme of the pumpkin. It just has to be clean and appropriate for work. So there's a couple little bullets on there. Voting will happen between 11 and 12:30, and then the winners announced at 1 p.m. You can wear costumes, and we'll have fall treats as well. So I think I'm actually under as well.
You
Unless I
brought
have
us
another
back in
slide
schedule, Jenny. That was
that I
great.
can't remember.
Does
Are there
anyone
any
have any questions
questions?
for Jenny? Any questions? Well, you were just a speed demon. That was fantastic. Thank you, Jenny. All right.
Cool.
We just have a couple of reminders of different dates to close this out. And I would like to invite Joe Carter to give one little message about National Shakeout Drill, which is this week, before we go. Joe?
Thanks, Mary Catherine. How do I follow up Jenny? That's kind of a tough one. So, right. So this Thursday, the City of Falls Church will take part in the annual Great Shakeout Drill, which brings awareness for earthquakes. So we, through OCOM, will be testing our Everbridge system. We're not asking that the employees do anything, except if you do not get an Everbridge message, you need to let us know so that we can figure out why. On the message that you get, it will have information on what you should do if the city were to face an earthquake where you had to take immediate action. So we also ask that you please read that just to familiarize yourself on what to do if. But once again, it's really, really important that if you do not receive an Everbridge message, that you reach out to OEM at fallschurchva.gov. And I can work with Mary Catherine and Maggie on how to correct that issue, because if we do have any emergency in the city, that's how we will be communicating. So it's really important that you get that information. So that's all I have, Mary Catherine. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Well, we've got a couple of deadlines. I'm going to, and events of note to come up, and then we can go for the day. I do want to also slip into this list the Love Sculpture deadline of the 20th. And then we also have the pumpkin carving event and all the Halloween festivities that Jenny just highlighted. Election Day, November 5th. We'll be following up with some further information regarding parking on Election Day, since one of the precincts is the community center. There's a city manager meetup on November 7th. We're going to be over in the library that day, and I'll send out an invite to all of your calendars. I hope you can come over for that. Veterans Day, city is closed that day on November 11th. Our November town hall will be on the 19th. And then I know our next town hall will share more information about the Turkey Day potluck, but given the fact that those dates are so close together, we wanted to get it on your calendar now. Does anyone have any last questions they want to share before we go? All right. Well, thank you all so much. I wish you a wonderful rest of today. Enjoy this beautiful fall weather, and see you soon. Thank you.